Welcome everybody today for another edition of Loan Consultant Lowdown. We have a tremendous guest today, Phana, who is one of our outstanding originators in California. And I am sure you're just as excited as I am to hear all about how she got into this industry and what makes her so successful. So Phana, thank you for joining us today. We're so glad that you took the time of this crazy busy year to spend a little bit and help others see why you're so successful. Great to see you.
Well, thank you so much, James. It's an honor to be presented in this LO Lowdown with you and Caliber. Anything I can do to help, I'll be more than happy to share some systems, ideas, anything. So
awesome.
I'm excited.
Well, I am known for my very difficult, hard, challenging questions. It's me and those reporters on 60 Minutes. I'm right there with them. So get ready. So first question. So everyone wants to know, how did you get into this business? What was the intent? Were you 5 years old and said, I want to be the best mortgage banker out there? Or how did you get into this business?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I did start it at 2 years old. That's what I'm teaching my two little ones. You're going to become a hedge fund manager. No matter who asks you, you are.
That's right.
I didn't even know what a mortgage was. So when I started just because I love helping. My plan was to become a doctor. Which parents doesn't want their kid to become a doctor?
Right.
So as I was growing up in a third world country, something that I always see is just poverty and seeing kids that are malnourished. And then I have an opportunity to come to America to create an opportunity for myself. Of course, my parents did that. But just going through that, I was like, I want to become a doctor because I wanted to help people better themselves. But that didn't go well. Just because of other reasons, but I did. I went 5 years in college and I did not do anything at all, but I love math so much. I love figuring out a solution. I just love, I'm a social butterfly. And so I just love helping people, finding a solution. There's more than one ways to skin a cat. And I'm here. And so when I started this, unlike most of our new loan officers that go to Caliber University, which I truly am impressed with how Caliber does it, because when I started in the business, I had to pay to get educated about the mortgage business. Here, Caliber company provide loan officers or a candidate that wants to do this for a living for free. Wow. And that's just amazing. And luckily I stuck around to become a consultant that I am today. Now it's not easy at all.
No.
I mean, you have to find the why you want to do it. For me, it was more of helping others and just wanting to become that person that helped them from getting from point A to point B, being well. And you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a lawyer. You can do what I do, and just creating that financing, that financial wellness for every single family that I touch. So that's why.
Wow. So that's pretty exciting because you're right. I mean, you took the innate wanting to help people, and there's a variety of different services that you can provide, and obviously purchasing a home and refinancing a home are an important part of the financial wellness, just as others. So that's an interesting, to your point. Not everyone's made to be a mortgage banker. Not everyone's made to be a doctor, and that's a great story. So what I would say, so you obviously came in and started building your business. Has how a lot of people across the country start to think about, is it just you as an originator? Do you have a team? How do you generate your leads? Is it more realtor? Is it builder? How much past referral? Just kind of general of the world of Phana and how that works.
My world of the world of Phana is, when I first started, I was just the only originator. I am still the only originator in the team, but I do have a team that helps support what I do. And it's so important for us. The one thing that we strive the most is making sure that we educate our clients with the options that they have, right? That's part of the education. And secondly, that education part goes a long way because we really want to make sure that clients have a great experience with us. Whether you're buying $100,000 condo or a manufactured home in, I don't know, I'm only licensed in California, so I can't go to Arizona. But if whether you're buying $100,000 or $1 million home, everyone gets the same service. And we just want to make sure that they have that 5-star service. So without my team and without the operation that we have here at Caliber, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So it takes a village to just get a loan done. And the thing about it is, when I first started in the business, it's hard, guys. There were many times that I just wanted to give up. And the hardest part is not knowing what you're doing.
Right.
And you have to find that person or that mentor that you look up to and say, gosh, how did they do it? And just stay focused and listen in, learn from your mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. I make a ton of them, but I always learn from it because each of your clients is very different and you will eventually encounter this type of situation, but not all clients are the same. So I make a ton of mistakes, but I learn from it. Learning how to say no. Don't get me wrong. When I started in the business, it's always going after every single person because you don't know any better, right? And learning how to say no, but at the same time, you're going to have to start with the most difficult transaction. Of course, real estate agent is going to go, hey, this loan officers couldn't do this, but can you do it?
Right.
You're going to be working the ugliest, the hairiest file. But if you know how to figure out that file, you can basically figure out anything. And that has always been my psychological mindset is if I can do this, I can do anything.
Right.
So of course it all started when I was in college, when I had to work 70 hours a week, 3 jobs, and I was taking 16 units per quarter.
And working all those hours.
And the thing is mindset, right? I'm like, if I can do this, I can do anything.
Yeah.
So take the hairiest file, you're gonna learn from it and you're gonna be fine.
Right.
But it's one of those where you have to transform yourself. And the majority of my business are purchases.
Okay.
Building a brand was definitely important for me too, because making sure that the client's educated and coming back to me because they trust me. And being able to adapt to what is it that they need. Adaptable, relatable.
Now, would you say your brand, you said trust, was that intentional? Is that what if you surveyed your real estate partners, would they say that that's, one word, that's what the Phana brand is trust?
I say that trust is one part of it. The biggest one that my brand is based on is relationship. Because in order for you to have a relationship with a client or with a business partners, you have to have that trust.
Right.
Because they're not going to have that. You're not going to have that relationship if it's like a marriage, right? I trust that you're going to be committed to me. And in that commitment is that relationship. So I always, and it goes back to what I said too, being relatable. Like, all of my clients are from all walks of life, all professions. It's not that I just work with VA or law enforcement. I work with everyone. And the reason why I do that is because, one, if I work 3 jobs, I'm pretty sure I was a waitress, I was the front desk person, I work at the department store. My dad was a machinist that he stands all day, 10 hours a day. My mom used to work at the sweatshop. and I helped her with
Wow.
all of that. And he was a landscaper. So all of my clients have done this. So I can relate as to how hard, they work in order for them to provide for their family. So when I'm helping them making this decision and educating them through this process, I want to make sure that, gosh, this is someone who works really hard. Let's make sure that they're going to be able to manage their mortgage. And let's make sure that they understand what they're getting into.
No, that's a huge, I mean, that statement right there, right? The journey of home ownership. That's a key piece, I think, of back to your, why do you do what you do? That's very interesting. Let me switch gears on you just a little bit. So you mentioned your team and your referral base and the relationship with realtors. Once you have that application and that customer, right, we know it's all about, we've got to get that file from, app to dollars in the seller's hands, right? And what that process in our business, as we know, is not easy. It's like, people always joke about the term snowflake, right? Well, the true thing is that there is no one transaction that is the same. Never, ever going to happen. So when you think about your relationship with operations, are there any tips that you would have on how you work with your processor and how you work with underwriters, closers that makes you maybe more successful than others?
Oh, absolutely. So, when I meet with a client, I pretty much know exactly what they're looking for and what options they have, but I still, which option is the best for them, but I still present it to them. So I know the story already. So when my file go into underwriting or to processing, we have to be a partner with our processor and our underwriter. So I want to have an internal brand. I don't want my file to go in and see if it's going to stick on the wall. Okay. I want to make sure that one,
Thank
my
you for that. Thank you.
I want to have an internal brand. Now, my files aren't the easiest, but they're definitely one that when you pick it up, I want to make sure an underwriter know exactly why this client should be approved for a loan and why we believe that they should get a loan to purchase a home.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a story behind it. And that's why it's so important for me to get to know the client so that I can put a story for my underwriter to look at and say, okay, why should we do this? And as far as our processing, our processors have a lot to do too. I mean, I can't imagine having to manage 60, 70, 100 active files and knowing all of them. It's
Right.
really our job to really work with our ops partner to see what's missing, right? At the end of the day, my team and I are the one that's responsible for making sure that that loan closes on time and that there's nothing that's going to blow up.
So it's, you would say just I think what I hear is accountability, right? With your partners and being a good partner, telling the story, being there so that they can pick up your file, see what you saw. Clearly you want, help and advice, but what I took out of that whole is being a good partner, which I think is critical, right? Is understanding they have a job to do, you have a job to do. And if everybody understands, that's when the success comes in.
Absolutely. And when you're a good partner, of course, I have asked for favors, like not favors, anything bad. It's just more like, hey, you know what? I really need this file. And rarely do I ever ask for anything just because I understand that there are other LOs that needs it more than I do. But there are times when I say, hey, there's a situation here. Can you put this ahead of either my file, my other files that aren't closing now?
Right.
So they're really good. Our underwriters, Michelle is my regional underwriting manager. She's really good. My closer, processors, they're amazing. So I really like that. And a lot of time, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. At Caliber, I would say hands down has the best operation.
Wow.
I mean,
That's a statement. That's a statement right there. I hope they're listening.
well, we were talking about production earlier. I mean, I came here almost 2.5 years ago, where I came from, I started off the first full year that I was here last year, I doubled my production. And this year, I'm looking to double my production. And then we study, our production, like what makes it, why is it that we can do it here versus elsewhere?
Mm-hmm.
And we've always had issues with operations before, and we've always tried to have a being a good partner with our ops. But at the same time, if you don't have the tools and the ability to do it like the way Caliber does it, you can't. No matter how great your relationship is, you have to have everything. So
Yeah.
you have to be well rounded, right?
No, that's great. So speaking of tools, right? We obviously have H2O, which is our origination system. But are there any technology or software or tool that like you can't live without, right? So, back in the day, this was my can't live without. I still have it, but is there any software, tool, system type thing that you couldn't live without?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know how to use that calculator anymore because I have everything on my cell phone. Of
That's
course,
right.
my cell phone I cannot live without.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
As far as origination and apps that I use, I don't want to reinvent any wheels, even though my husband can program stuff, but I definitely recommend Mortgage Coach,
Oh,
honestly.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Dave Savage and that group. Yeah.
Hmm.
And actually, I think there's October 20th. There's a program coming up where like an education for originators to learn more about it in that program. But I've heard, yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah, I definitely, I wish I wish I know what I know now
Hmm.
and use mortgage. I have always used Mortgage Coach, but I didn't implement the video version of it.
Oh.
It has saved me a ton of time with my clients when we sent out initial disclosures and then clients would be like, oh my gosh, this number doesn't look right. Of course it
Hmm.
doesn't, because it's supposed to make it easier for consumer to understand. But with the Mortgage Coach with a video in there explaining whether it's rent versus own or buy downs, the videos there, it prevent me from having to take additional phone calls because the question that my clients have has already been addressed in
Right.
Mortgage Coach and the video. So
Right.
I really like that.
That's terrific. So this next question is, so you've been doing this, you said almost 20 years and you've built your career. Is there a time or a point in that career where you look back and say, I was doing good, but then I started doing this and that's how I doubled. And that's really what made either my business easier to handle or driving more production? Was there ever that moment where you changed something that made you even more successful?
Yes, and a lot of those has to do, I mean, we are, when you are in this business, you want everyone to like you, right? Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be hated. I'm
Right.
just trying to get this thing done. But at the same time, there's also a time, there's a time and a place to work. And of course, business do come first too, because I have families that are waiting for me to assist them. So one of the things that, I mean, I don't want to get too personal on this one. It's just, I know what I want, and training and development is important, but oftentimes, like when we were talking about earlier, with the kind of growth that I have, I really don't have a lot of time to train people.
Mm-hmm.
I need somebody who knows things like quickly, right, to
Mm-hmm.
assist me and support me. But at the same time, the challenge that I have is more of like, do they fit into the Phana vision, the
Mm-hmm.
Phana cartoon vision? I
Yeah.
mean, if we don't fit into that vision, it's going to be really hard for us, and we have to just quickly make changes. And there are certain things that I'm not willing to accept.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I'm just not willing to accept is if the customer experience is in jeopardy, I need to make changes. And
Mm-hmm.
if those changes doesn't come quick enough, I'm willing to work 16, 18 hours a day to make sure that those clients and business partners gets taken care of.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, our clients comes to us because they want us to help. And
Right.
our business partners is dependent upon us to get things done.
Hmm.
So that's the one thing. I mean, I don't know if that helps answer the
No,
question.
I think that's exactly it. So kind of heading down that theme, you obviously are a very strategic thinker, and so our business continues. It's interesting. Some elements change, and some has stayed the same. As you think of the mortgage business and particularly purchase, with which you're very, that's your bread and butter. What do you see changing? If you think 5 years from now, what changes? What stays the same? Have you thought about that at all?
I thought about it, and it's, you have other companies like OfferUp, Zillow, and everything that comes on board, and
Mhm.
we automatically go, oh my gosh, this is going to basically kick our real estate agent, our real estate partners out of business. But for us, if we don't educate the consumer about what they're getting, we are going to put ourselves out of work.
Mm.
And the thing about it is the partners that I'm working with, they're very strategic in approaching these clients too. I mean, I've seen it and I try to educate them as well that, hey, OfferUp may be a great thing for you, but you got to take a look at everything. But I think
Mhm.
that service will always, always be there
Sure.
because if a client can go out there and make an offer, or even if they were talking about, hey, I'm just going to hire an attorney to sell my home. What does an attorney know about home inspection?
Right.
Like
Right.
seriously, like they're
Yeah.
not going to go and do a home inspection and look through everything.
Right.
And so, I mean, in our industry, it's really our job to really educate the community about why we are needed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the
I think that's
advice
good.
that they pay for. And that
Yeah.
for me, I always tell a client, I go, if you can get this answer from Google, you do not need to talk to me.
Right. Right. Right.
And mhm.
You could tie that back to your original comment, right? About, whether it's lawyer, doctor, right? I mean, there's people, well, I can go online and get a will, or I can go online and, Google my symptoms. I've never done that, but I hear you can do that. And in any event, right, you can go online and Google your heart's intent, how to price your house, sell your house. But I think what your point is, there is still a value on that service. And when you couple that with the service that a realtor provides, and the service that we provide, right? That team and that ability to build that relationship, that's going to be there. Do you see when you think about the consumer's demand for technology? Do you see that continuing to increase, where the consumer wants to, once they get the advice and they want to talk to you, but they want this thing to get done faster, than ever and easier than ever? Do you see that continuing to be a trend?
We live in a world of instant gratification, right? And Amazon taught us that.
Yeah.
And we love Amazon. Don't get me wrong, I order stuff, but Amazon at the same time does have issues too with their service.
Mm-hmm.
I needed my chafing dishes for my holiday party, and they didn't deliver on time. And guess what? I
Broken.
just go, I'm not going to order it there anymore. I'm going to hit Costco where it's available, right?
Right.
But
Right.
we live in a world of instant gratification. And to your point, I actually, I have a client right now in escrow where everything was pretty much, oh gosh, I can get this here with a click of a button. At the end of the day, he came back and said, you know what? They didn't give me what I wanted. They told me something else.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am. Okay, you know what? What is it that you need? But let's start over because I don't understand you. I don't understand your needs. I don't understand what's important to you. So I'm taking the time to understand and to know their situation, what their wants and their needs are.
Right.
Versus this app right here, just go, okay, you're looking to buy? Great. What's your credit? Great. Um, how long do you, or what type of loan are you looking for? A conventional. I mean, what kind of advice is that?
Right.
You're not
Right.
paying for anything. And
No.
you can be in a loan where you're going to end up paying so much more and you don't even know it because your friend told you that this is the easiest process.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would say almost every single client of mine I always address this upfront and letting them know, like, hey, I know that I know what's going on out there, but let me address it for you and why I think it's not a good thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And they always talk about rate, right? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, my friend have a rate at 1.75%. And why are you offering me 2.75, right? And I said, well, do you understand what a 1.75 is? That's a 2-1 buy down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know
Mm-hmm.
that that rate is a teaser rate? Oh, I didn't know that.
Right.
Well, you're going to end up at 3.75 eventually,
Right.
but look at what I'm offering now. This is how much that or how long you intend to be in your home. They don't understand that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, you want to address it so it stops them from wandering off why you as a consultant didn't talk to them about it.
Yeah.
Now you're building that trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they're just afraid of asking you the question because they don't want to be, sound like they're dumb or they don't
Yeah.
know
No,
and don't
that's
want
right.
to take advantage of.
Right.
As a consultant, you want to make sure that you address that, whether or not they want to know. I know oftentimes people say you go too long with your consultation. And
Mm-hmm.
what they don't understand is I'm getting information from the client so that I have that trust for
Right.
a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're now into the speed personal questions. These are the hard hitting personal questions coming in. So did you have a mentor in the business? And do you see the value that a mentor can bring?
I do have mentors in the business, and I think that almost everyone that I come across that have something that's different than me, or someone who was a principal at a school retired doing real estate is a mentor. Someone who's a CPA and then now turned into real estate is a mentor. And someone who is in this business that have been successful is a mentor. I don't
Mm-hmm.
directly talk to them, but I study their business, right? I study what they're doing and it's swipe and adapt. And
Yeah.
it's more of what is it that they're doing right and what can I do that's going to fit my vision, like my business? What
Mm-hmm.
can I do to better improve that? How do they approach their business versus how I approach mine?
Yeah.
So
No, that's terrific.
yeah, I would say everyone that I come across, like you two, James and Chris Ledley. I mean, without Chris allowing me to really run my business the way I want to have it run, I wouldn't be able to do the numbers that I do. There's
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah, that's great. So variety of mentors, and I think that's important, right? As you get to different pieces, and I think that's a really good answer. So this is you talked. You had 3 jobs in college. You talked about all of the hard work ethic. What was the first paying job that you ever had?
What was my first unpaying job?
Okay, yeah. For the family thing, but yes. What was that first? What got your work ethic going?
Oh gosh, I have always done sales like since I was a little girl. So I was in the refugee camp in Thailand, and um, in this refugee camp, just plain land and little hut homes, and my mom would have money that was given to her from my uncle in America, and when we have something, she would grow vegetables for me to go and sell at the market. hmm At the age, I would say at 9. So here I am. And then once we sell that at nighttime, she would buy, cigarette in packs and individual and candies and just kind of, sell it to people who are going out at night.
Resell.
And
Yeah.
uh-huh. So I have to say that, and I'm very proud of it too, that I kind of started the night market for that particular.
That
So
is
people
awesome.
just started like selling stuff because I would be out there at night after school and everything, and I'm carrying my little, I don't know what it's called, but one of those little basket that you tie it
Yeah,
around.
yeah, I can visualize. Yeah, you got it all stacked in front of you, and
Yeah, I'm like, you want to get the pack or do you want to get the individual? This is how much it's going to cost you. Well, do you
that's
want
right.
it?
Or the subscription. There you go. Well, Phana, that is, we are nearing the end here, and I so enjoyed this discussion, and I think anyone watching this is going to see why you are so successful, and more importantly, why you are such an important part of Caliber and who we are as a company. And so, finally, I would just say thank you for the time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Home Connection podcast from Caliber Home Loans. Please see the show notes for links to topics discussed in this episode, and be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.